morning. This is Scott Cullen, editor-in-chief of the Cannata Report. This is Fridays with Frank. Today we have, as always, Frank Cannata, the founder of the Cannata Report. And for the very first time ever, we have a special guest, Bob Goldberg from BTA. Bob, great to have you with us. Frank, always good to see you.
Thank you, Scott. Good to see you. Welcome, Bob.
Hi, Frank. Thank you very much, both of you, for having me participate.
All right. Well, it's so nice again to have you here. And we have got a hot topic to talk about. Bob, I know you've been talking a lot about this recently. Frank's already done a Fridays with Frank session on this. And I have written the lead story in our May issue. It's HP's Amplify Partner Program. It's creating a little bit of controversy in the dealer channel, and I don't know if a little is the best word to use here, but Frank, you wrote a very strong opinion piece in the May issue, but you also had some comments from dealers who were fairly positive. So Frank, why don't you start off by talking about what you've been hearing from dealers?
Absolutely.
And the good and the bad.
Look, I tried, in all candor, I wanted to write a balanced piece. I knew that you would do the great journalistic job you always did, and you let them tell their story, which you did. I felt that it was an opinion piece, but at the same token, I wanted to report the favorable comments that I heard about it. And I did hear some favorable comments, which, as you know, I included. But on balance, and then also I discussed this with Bob because I wanted, in the beginning, I didn't quite understand how deep this went. So I asked Bob if he was getting much feedback from dealers about it. And Bob told me yes, quite a bit. And of course, that's why I quoted him extensively in that session, because of his advice to the dealers. But the bottom line is that my concern, and it continues to be my concern, if this program is successful in eliminating compatibles for toner, other companies are going to want to do this. And I think that puts dealers in a negative position. I don't care how they couch it, and they're short-sighted if they think by drying up compatibles, what are they going to pick up? Let's be generous. Let's say they'll pick up 20% additional. And how are dealers going to make money? You talk to any of them and say, if you take out the compatibles out of their typical MPS deal, they lose quite a bit. And I understand now with the development of the technology, the Chinese are going to incorporate a chip for each of the brands that they make, which make it impossible to put a compatible in, which will be a whole other problem that'll have to be addressed at some point. So it's not a problem that is going to go away for dealers, which I'm very, very sorry to have to say. But it's something that we're aware of. And, I'd like to ask Bob for his thoughts.
Frank, I agree with you on the compatibles and the profitability, but I want to take it a step before that. I have not been convinced yet or understand why HP needs customer information in order to make certain assistance and provide certain discounts to the dealer channel. The most important thing a dealer has is the install base and that customer information. We've seen now for decades the acquisition of dealers, and what they're buying is machines in the field. They're buying those relationships and they're buying those contracts. I get nervous when a manufacturer supplier is insisting upon having that data within their database, which the dealer developed. That data is confidential, it's highly valuable, and what is HP going to do with it? HP says they're just using it for research, they're using it to support the dealer, But everything I've seen, everything that's been printed, could be done without knowing the name of the dealer, without having that information. Frank, we've heard rumors about the future of HP. It's going to be acquired, something going to happen. I'm always concerned that the people in place today may not be there tomorrow. Dealers change, personnel change, companies change, economics change. Look what happened with COVID, all the changes that have taken place. You need to have assurances that your confidential information is confidential. You need, as a dealer, to know that that information will not be shared and used for marketing or sales purposes under any circumstances. Now, HP says our guidelines say that, but the guidelines can be changed. I like to see written documents like a dealer agreement that protects dealer confidential information, precludes it from being used for sales or marketing purposes. So I've listened to the dealers, and I admire HP. They've gone to their dealer channel and they've spoken directly with dealers, and they've helped to manage some of the concerns. And they've been successful with some. In some instances, they say we don't need the customer name and information. And I'm pleased that they've been able to work it out on a one-on-one, but it's not uniform. And I have a feeling that some of the bigger participants in the HP channel may be getting more concessions than others. So I've told dealers a couple of things. Number one, some dealers already have in their agreements that they will not provide customer information with third party. We see that all the time when we go on the internet, you know, that they have requirements to ask you whether that can happen. So if you have that agreement as a dealer with your customer, you're precluded contractually from giving it to HP. I also suggest you have a confidentiality agreement with HP. Don't put it in the guidelines. Let's have a specific agreement. HP, here's my valuable customer information that I've developed over the years, and you just agree you won't use it for sales or marketing purposes. That seems simple enough. And frankly, very frankly, Cannata, if in fact something should happen, I say, if you're not comfortable, there's other 4 players out there that you can work with where you can get those assurances. And I agree, Frank, if we let it happen here, it may be a domino effect for others. But I'm not looking so much down the road as protecting it right now in this HP program and make sure dealers' very valuable customer information remains confidential.
So Bob, I have a question. Okay. Some of the reaction about the sharing of the data, well, a lot of the reaction about the sharing of the data seems to me to be coming from a generation of dealers that have been around for a long time, been doing business a certain way for a long time, and now they're being asked to change the way they're doing things by sharing this data. And granted, this, from what I understand and what I've learned, is this, it's optional. They don't have to participate in this segment of the program if they don't want to. But do you think this might be a generational reaction?
Scott, 3 answers to that. Number one, we can always learn from our elders. People have been around and have the experience and know what the concerns are. I don't think that generational differences have any bearing on trust. Trust should be uniform throughout all generations. And we don't have that trust yet that this information will not be improperly used. I don't put all of my credence and all of my assets on a handshake or a trust with a manufacturer or someone who has greater influence over my business. I want to see a document that says that. I want a document that clearly establishes that. And the one point you say, yeah, it's optional, Scott, but it's, if you don't participate in the program, you don't get certain discounts and benefits that are given to others. So you can say, oh, I'm not going to give you my information, but I'm not going to be competitive because my pricing is not going to be as good. So there's a bit of a hammer, or you might look at it as a carrot, but either way, trust is important through all generations.